Okay, this is the Learning the Avidyne Atlas video series. This is lesson 12, Instrument Approaches and Missed Approaches. In this lesson, we will demonstrate how to load and fly 5 different approaches using the Atlas FMS, including an LPV approach with no procedure turn and a missed approach, an LPV approach with course reversal, a VOR approach with procedure turn and an alternate airport, an ILS approach with vectors to final, and a DME Arc to a VOR DME approach. Let's get started. To learn about instrument approaches on the Atlas, let's start this demo with a flight from Chicago Executive and fly the RNAV GPS-3 approach into Appleton, Wisconsin. This will be a full approach without radar vectors from ATC. We will fly over OSH VOR using the OSH transition. This transition is marked no procedure turn on the chart, meaning that a course reversal at the Apixie waypoint is not required. The approach will terminate with a missed approach. The routing we will initially use for this flight will be KPWK to OSH VOR to KATW Appleton. Once we have the flight plan entered, we can go ahead and load the RNAV3 LPV approach by hitting the PROC key, the procedure key, and selecting the RNAV3 from the list of available approaches, and then selecting the OSH transition. Let's hit the side tab so we can see the map plus flight plan, and use LSK3 to activate the flight plan. The magenta leg on the map confirms we are activated. While en route, we can switch to the Map plus TAWS page to view the 3D synthetic vision view. We can also go to the Chart tab and load the approach plate for Appleton. Use LSK1 to select Chart and LSK2 to paste KATW and view all the available charts at our destination airport. We simply scroll down to select the RNAV3 approach and press the FMS knob or Enter to select. Cycle LSK2 again from Plan View to Header View to Profile View to Minimums to All, which is the full plate, and then back to Plan. All charts are fully zoomable. Moving ahead, we are now approaching the OSH VOR. The blue rectangle line appears on the map showing the boundary extent of the selected approach plate. Once we cross the OSH transition, you will see our nav source state will switch states from GPS to LPV transition, with LPV in cyan. Now we are heading toward Apixie, at which point we will turn inbound and our LPV approach will automatically be activated, as shown by the green LPV nav source state in the upper right corner. And our nav mode will switch from terminal to approach, as shown next to LSK4, letting us know that our CDI scaling is switching from 1 nautical mile to 0.3 nautical miles full scale. We cross Wutan, which is our final approach fixed, and continue inbound to runway 3, which is our missed approach point, in which case we would apply power and configure for climb and follow the missed approach guidance, which in this case is to climb to 1,138 feet, 028 degree course, then 030 degrees to Asigi, and hold. As we get to Asigi, the Atlas FMS tells us we have a teardrop entry into our holding pattern, where we will hold pending further instructions. In the second scenario, we are going to shoot the same RNAV3 LPV approach, but from the opposite direction. From the previous lesson, we flew the missed approach, and we are in a hold at Avidyne. We will reload the approach, and since we are coming from the opposite direction, we will need to perform a course reversal holding pattern as published on the chart before we begin. While in the hold, let's reload the RNAV3 approach by hitting the proc key. We select RNAV3, and this time we select the apixie transition and enter. You will see the prompt that says Replace Active Approach, which you can either touch to accept or hit the Enter key. Once you accept the new approach and we are cleared by ATC, the Atlas FMS will turn and exit the hold and proceed direct to the apixie waypoint. When we reach apixie, the Atlas FMS will automatically enter the course reversal hold depicted on the approach plate. Note that you will see the exiting the hold at fix message in the lower right corner. This indicates that unlike the holding patterns we have seen thus far, we will not remain in the hold, as this is simply a course reversal. If by chance you were not cleared from the hold by ATC, you could press the Continue Hold button and make another lap or until cleared. You can see the leg after the hold is a barber pole, signifying we are leaving the hold after the course reversal. From here, you simply fly the LPV approach just as we did in the previous scenario. In this next scenario, we are flying out of Chicago Executive Airport inbound direct to Oshkosh, where we will fly the VOR 27 approach and terminate with a missed approach. This flight will also include an alternate airport, KATW Appleton. The only transition for this airport is the Osh VOR. For this exercise, we will assume Milwaukee approach radar is out of service, so the procedure turn is our only option. We will build our flight plan to KOSH, but we will also include a second airport, our alternate, which is KATW. Let's load the flight plan from KPWK to KOSH and then add the alternate KATW and activate the flight plan. We can press the proc key or we can move the cursor to the approach window within the KOSH waypoint, as shown here, and select the VOR 27 approach and then select the OSH transition. As you can see, this creates a gap in our flight plan between KOSH and OSH. We have several options to close the gap. The best option is simply to go direct to OSH, then proceed with the approach. While en route, we can again switch to the map page and view our data blocks by holding the map page button. We can also load and view the approach plates by going to the Chart tab. Then hit LSK1 to select Chart, then LSK2 to paste KOSH, our destination, and view the full list of available charts and airport diagrams. Now we can scroll down to VOR 27 and push the FMS knob or Enter to select. Cycling LSK2 will allow us to go from the plan view to header to profile view to minimums to full plate view, and these views are all zoomable or panable, and back to plan view. Now let's skip ahead. Once we get to the OSH VOR, we will automatically begin the approach by turning outbound, and then we will perform the procedure turn and head back in. We're running the Atlas in demo mode, so it doesn't emulate the VHF nav function. This is what you will actually see. Once you turn inbound on the procedure turn, you will notice the VOR frequency is auto-tuned to the OSH VOR, and it's being correctly identified in the window here. The nav mode is switched from terminal to approach mode, and the VLOC source state is green. To complete this scenario, we will fly the missed approach, which calls for us to hold west of Great. In this next scenario, we will demonstrate shooting an ILS into Appleton KATW. This approach picks up where we left off in the previous approach, where we were holding at Great for the OSH VOR 27. And now we want to transition from Great with radar vectors to the final approach course for ILS runway 3 at KATW, which is already in our flight plan. We received clearance to the Appleton Airport with radar vectors to the ILS runway 3. This is an easy task with the Atlas FMS. Simply press the proc key and select the ILS 3, then select vectors to final as the transition. Our flight plan now includes the ILS 3 approach with a vectors to final waypoint and a gap in route message. Scroll the cursor over the VTF waypoint and hit the LSK3, which will activate vectors to final. ATC will vector you to the inbound course. You will see your nav source state in the upper right corner now shows GPS to VLOC transition status, and the nav mode data block next to LSK4 confirms you are in approach mode. As we intercept the final approach course, we will turn inbound, and we will need to verify all indications are go. The nav radio should auto-tune the ILS frequency 109.1. The nav source state window should display VLOC in green, indicating ILS navigation, and the nav mode window should display approach. Whenever you fly a missed approach after shooting a vectors to final approach, the Atlas provides an easy way to get back and fly the same approach over again without going through all the trouble of reselecting and reactivating. Use LSK1 to retry approach. You can then follow ATC's headings to re-intercept the final approach course. Okay, now this is the last approach exercise. Let's fly a DME Arc transition to a VOR DME approach using the Atlas FMS. For this approach, we are relocating the demo sim to Kansas. We will fly from Russell, Kansas to Hutchinson, Kansas using the VOR DME 22 approach. We will be arriving from the northwest, transitioning via the 15 DME Arc. This is a no procedure turn transition. The Atlas FMS will use GPS as a legal substitute for DME and will auto-transition to VOR for the final approach course. Okay, so we're on the ground at Russell, Kansas, KRSL. Let's enter our destination, which is Hutchinson, Kansas, KHUT. I've activated the flight plan and we will climb out and head toward Hutchinson. Let's go ahead and load the approach chart for the VOR DME 22 on the Atlas. We go to the map page and the chart tab, hit the line select key 1 to select chart, then using LSK2, we can paste KHUT, which is automatically nominated since it's our destination, which gives us a full list of all the charts and airport diagrams available for KHUT. We can scroll down to VOR DME 22 and push the FMS knob or enter key to select and bring up the plan view of the approach plate. Use the right FMS knob to zoom the chart in or out. Use LSK2 to cycle through the different chart views available, including header, the profile view, your minimums, the full chart view, and back to the plan view. Back on the FMS flight plan page, let's go ahead and load our approach. I push the proc key, the procedure key, which brings up the list of available approaches. Then we scroll down to the VOR DME 22 approach and push the FMS knob or enter to select. Next, we select Yetru as our initial approach fix that begins on the east side of the 15 DME Arc. Then press enter. The VOR DME 22 approach has been added to the flight plan, but a gap has also been added, and you are still flying direct to KHUT as you were before. As you are flying along, you receive the following clearance from ATC. You are cleared direct to the Hutchinson Airport. Intercept the 15 DME Arc, cleared for the VOR DME 22 approach. Move the cursor to the 15 DME Arc waypoint in the flight plane, in this case Newbrae, and use LSK3 to activate the leg. This will make the DME Arc the current leg and as shown by it turning magenta on the map. Now we can turn and track the DME Arc. And we will turn right onto the final approach course when we reach the lead-in radial. And that covers Lesson 12 on loading and flying instrument approaches with the Atlas FMS. Be sure to check out all the other Atlas FMS videos shown here as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to pilotsupport@avidyne.com. Have a great day and fly safe, everyone.